This is the UFC 209 recap. Pretty decent night of fights. I enjoyed them, but obviously the main event left a bad taste in my mouth, probably yours too, and we'll get to that in a little bit. For picks, I was pretty much decimated from top to bottom, but let's begin. First fight was Overeem and Hunt. The Reem stayed patient, kept his distance, and was able to evade Hunt when he closed in. Worked out excellent, and when they tied up, Overeem landed a huge knee that knocked Hunt out. So what can I say? It's heavyweight. No real surprises there. I did pick Hunt. Good performance from Alistar, and I can't help but feel for Hunt given the situation he's in, but that is the nature of the fight game. It is ruthless. Next fight was Amanda Cooper and Cynthia Calvillo. And if you remember, that fight was not originally on the pay-per-view, but it was bumped up after the Khabib fight fell out. And this fight and Luke Sanders were the ones I was most confident in picking. I thought Cynthia would easily out-grapple Cooper and win a decision, but she did submit her instead. I put Cynthia on my DraftKings because I was that confident she would score me those points, and she did. And Luke Sanders was another one that I thought would score me a lot of points too, and he did, but he ended up losing. But he performed very well too, but the fight was going exactly how I thought it would. He just got caught in a submission, unfortunately. Luckily, Cynthia came through, and I'm looking forward to her next fight. Then we had Rashad Evans and Daniel Kelly. Unfortunately, Rashad came out without much direction, it seemed. Some things were working, he had good shot selection, but overall just failed to pull the trigger. I was afraid that would happen, but Kelly looked great. You could really see he studied Rashad's style for that fight and took advantage of the open stance. I think Rashad could have made it a closer fight, but whether he's a shot fighter, the weight cut, the time off, all three of the things, he just hasn't really looked himself. He did go all 15 minutes. He didn't get knocked out, so I wouldn't mind seeing him back in there. I'd like for Rashad to get a good team around him again and fight one more time against someone mid-tier in the middleweight division. But if he retired, I don't think any of us would bat an eye. Rashad has fought so many killers over the course of his career. He doesn't really have anything to prove anymore. So congrats to Dan Kelly. I did pick Rashad Evans in that fight. Next was David Teymur versus Lando Venata. And David Teymur won by decision. A fight I thought I read very well in my pre-fight study. All my points were proven, and we saw how underrated Teymur was. I did pick Venata because I thought he would initiate more takedowns and do well in the scrambles. I also thought that he would do well with the angles and land more of his shots on the feet, which he did very well, but Teymur, like I said in my pre-fight, he's always game and he's always prepared for anything. But I think Venata ended up basically headhunting against Teymur. Hopefully I was able to convince some of you to put some money on Teymur given the odds, because he was obviously a big underdog and it wasn't really warranted. And we saw that in the fight. It was a great performance from Teymur. And it's back to the drawing board for Venata, but it was a tough styles matchup. It was a close fight. And hopefully you guys watched my pre-fight study of that fight and were able to walk away with some cash in your pocket. And of course, the main event. What can I say about this? I understand the judges' scoring. I know some of you are screaming robbery, and I don't quite understand that so much. I can understand that you scored it for Thompson, but to say it's a robbery, I don't know. Without going into depth, just because Thompson stood in the center of the octagon and Woodley had his back to the fence doesn't mean Wonder Boy is controlling the octagon. There's a lot of factors at play. But that's neither here nor there. I kind of stopped caring about scoring the fight after the second round. It was a battle of feints and reactions, and that was really it. Woodley had the bigger moments once again, but what does it matter? Woodley said he's the greatest welterweight of all time, and he was going to finish Thompson, but instead we got a reaction contest. So I understand that portion of it. I get what they were doing, but there is also two ways to look at everything, and many of us just thought the fight sucked, plain and simple. But congrats to Woodley. The UFC won't likely book this fight again, which I'm probably most excited about. I'm ready to see him fight someone else, and I kind of hope it's Jorge Masvidal, but we'll see. That does it for my post-fight recap. Decent night of fights, but the main event kind of sucked the life out of it nonetheless. On to the next card. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter @RapidMMA.